Yours now?
I'm waiting.
Yeah, I figured they might hear it on the thing.
So one more thing to go.
Who is it? Yeah.
You good now?
I hear it on the thing, so one more thing to go.
Okay. Presentations are none, public hearings, none. Citizen comments of something that's not on the agenda already. Any citizen comment?
Oh.
Okay. Presentations are none, public hearings, none. Citizen comments. of something that's not on the agenda already. Deja vu.
It's fixed on her end.
It's fixed on her end.
Just turn it down. So any other citizen comments other than what's on the agenda? None. Select board comments, Abden? Nope. Ruben? Comments?
Nope.
Michael?
Yeah, I'd like to give thanks to the volunteers from CHIP who made window inserts for homes that have leaky windows, installed a ramp here in town, handicapped accessibility ramp, and renovated a trailer. And those who volunteered from Waldoboro, and some who were not. But anyway, I'd like to mention Morgan Price, Gene Sagerman, Al Maloney, who worked on project with myself and my wife, Kathy Childress, who also worked on that crew, Ryan Stevens, Stephen Michelle, my wife, Kay Whitner, Pete Kane worked on that crew, and Amy Hinckley, William Hinckley, and Patricia Matray. And also mention that students from Meadowneck Valley High School, they also volunteered and did some work. So kudos for volunteering your time and in some cases some money too.
Peggy?
Fall soccer's in full swing. Marcus is on the field at all times of the day and night, I think. Every time I'm there, he's there. So it's going well. It's very well organized. Just want to give a shout out to Marcus for that organization.
A lot of kids. A lot of
A lot of
kids.
kids. A lot of moving parts and he's got them all going really well.
Just got a couple quick things. Got a thank you card here from the Waldoboro Day Committee to express their thanks for the donation, generous donation. The support is greatly appreciated, and we can only hope that you continue to be part of the Waldoboro Day in the future. Sincerely, the Waldoboro Day Committee. Nice little card with their logo. It says Waldoboro, where community grows. And I also just wanted to make mention, Saturday, I attended and participated in the firefighter memorial send-off for Chief Glidden, who passed away since our last meeting. 69 years serving this community in the fire service. From basic firefighter up to chief, and you'd be sadly missed by all. And between the community members that were there, residents, family, relatives, we had firefighters from Lincoln County, Knox County, Kennebec County, from all over in attendance for a send-off we did here at the town office. That's all I have, town manager.
In case you don't know, Route 220 South is closed. There were still people as of Sunday who did not know this.
As of
and
Monday and
As of
Tuesday.
Monday and today too, that
Today,
did
yeah.
not know this. So just a reminder, Finntown Road is open. I just want to reiterate that, in case anybody didn't see the post on Facebook, we have an ambulance stationed at the fire department in Friendship. So if somebody on that side of town has to have an emergency response, we are close by. I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. And that is all I have.
How about a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? New business. 10.1, I don't have any paperwork on it, but the town clerk does. Seeing people request.
Yeah, it's a request for a new pole at Hendrickson Lane. And it's been all approved by Public Works. It just needs approval and signatures from you all.
Down road. Sign this after.
Make that motion.
Make a motion.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? Public Works has approved it. And 10.2, our nomination team there on the end of the table. They have some nomination for us.
Yeah, Abden and I had the pleasure of interviewing Margaret Riley for the planning board. She's worked on several multi-million-dollar projects. She's worked with teams, she's worked with boards, she's understood changing regulations in a town environment, and she seems like she'd be a really good fit for that committee. So I wanted to make the motion that we nominate her.
Good
Name again? Margaret Riley. I believe I'm saying that right. That's how it's spelled. Margot.
Margot, maybe?
Margot.
I looked at the application.
Ms. Riley. And this planning board certainly needs some assistance because I think they're short two.
Yeah,
We still need two more, right?
yeah, we've got some other applications I
Okay.
reached out to just before this meeting that we should be interviewing tomorrow.
Good. Good. Got a motion there, any second?
Second.
All in favor for Ms. Riley to be part of the planning board? Very well. Moving on to old business. We'll start off with the duck puddle agreement with the town of Waldeboro.
Nobleboro.
I mean, Nobleboro. One of them boroughs.
We attended Kate, myself, and John Blodgett attended the Nobleboro Select Board meeting 2 weeks ago. And went over the agreement for us to start submitting for grants for the replacement of the culvert on Duck Puddle Road that continuously floods. This is specifically for the culvert that we're sharing half the cost for. The town of Waldeboro, the town of Waldeboro will be responsible for our side, and then the town of Nobleboro will be responsible for their side. They have a lot more work that they'll have to do on their roadway than we do on our side.
They have a lot of work to do on their side.
Yes, they do. We agreed that we'd have a third party individual manage the project, and I believe they agreed to use Pine Tree Engineering.
And that's what my question is on the agreement. When it talks about project management, if you look at page 4, I'm sorry, yeah. The second page, paragraph 5, town of Waldeboro is sole responsibility. Shouldn't that be the joint? Shouldn't that be the, where we talk about the project manager? Because we don't want to have one that we both agree on.
Okay,
We wanted a project manager that kind of neutral. Not just our guys supervising. That was a request of the select board from Nobleboro. There's nowhere else in there, is there? Is that what we talked about?
we did, yep.
So that's one thing that's gonna change on there. In paragraph 5, we'll talk about a neutral party as the project manager.
I think we'll add that. We'll make 6, 7, and we'll add 6 as the neutral party. Just because we want to be able to track, report all grant funding, engineering. This basically talks about costs. 5 is
Okay.
about costs.
Okay,
So 6 will do the neutral party, the neutral third party for project management. We'll add that.
Okay. When do we have to have this know?
Tomorrow, their meeting's tomorrow
I knew
night.
they were pretty antsy to get the,
They're pretty antsy.
so can we get that changed that quick? We'll sign the.
I can,
We can sign
because
the
it's a 3-page document,
Sign the signature
you can
page.
sign and we'll change this. I mean, Kate and I will change it for you. As long as you trust us,
Sounds sketchy.
doesn't it? That sounds good.
Just sign this page.
But we will definitely add neutral
Project manager.
project manager.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Second,
Any more discussion on it?
I see they got a timeline in there. Is that realistic?
It's what Kate and their representative from Noblesboro came up with.
It's aspirational, but it aligns with grant funding.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I asked if that was realistic.
I love it. It's aspirational.
I think the important, the writing of the grants in the timeline is realistic. The doing of the work might not be.
Yep.
Once we have the money in hand, we have a little bit more leeway to do it.
Yep.
And we also have the help of Lincoln County to help write the grant. So,
Yep.
3-man team.
Are they looking for money for this as well?
Yes,
I see they were.
everybody's, because they are not a partner with McCog.
Mhm.
So they use Lincoln County Planning.
Yeah, and this culvert, I mean, sort of Gift can even attest to it. The road, how many years that road flooded out?
Long as I can remember.
Long time. It's time for them to do something. Good.
I showed up with the plans from 1981 at the meeting. And that was the last time and the state replaced that back then. It was a 1981 state replacement.
Any more discussion on it? All in favor? $11.2. Cell phone tower update.
Oh, I better go to 11.1, the original 11.1.
Oh, I'm sorry, 11.1, yeah. The
Got bumped again.
update on East Ridge Mobile Home Park.
Thank you.
All right. Myself and Derek Booker both went out and did the re-inspection at 170 Lady Slipper Lane. That is an updated copy of what it is as of today. Anything in red still is a violation. Some of them are quite minor. Please read those. But for the most part, they are, there's a lot of it that has been done. Derek could not be here this evening. He asked me to basically tell you that we were both in agreement. We believe that substantial completion or substantial reduction in the number of violations has occurred. There is still more that needs to be done, but we both were in agreement that it met what we felt was the request from the board as far as the substantial portion. So we have done that. There is some more things that need to be done, and we will need to do another inspection. Ruben was able to actually walk the property with us as well. So he did get a chance to actually take a look. So with that being said, we still need to continue moving forward. It's not that all the violations are done, but we still need to continue to work on the stuff that's remaining. I will make sure that Fred gets a copy of that latest report, and then we can go from there. So
I will say that I went through there today and it does, I can big difference from 2 weeks ago. Good job. Moving forward. Just gotta keep up.
Moved a lot of stuff.
We just gotta keep up on it.
Yeah.
The last meeting, I think we discussed, seeing a lease agreements. And also, one of my concerns is the buffer. I'm concerned about the buffer. You still have, part of this, still have some debris inside the buffer zone, trash, correct?
That's correct. The problem is that, we continue to have new areas of violations open up. So one of the areas that was taken care of, I can't remember the lot number off the top of my head, it was taken care of, but now 41, he is now, in violation because somebody is parking a bunch of, there's 2 ride-on tractors, there's some lawn stuff. And again, I think it is one of these deals where it is an enforcement issue that should not necessarily be on the town, but it should be in place, that there's rules and regulations and people need to abide by that. And for whatever reason, you know, we have these issues that within 2 weeks, we've had a violation that's gone from cleared up to now it's a violation again. So, there definitely needs to be some oversight.
How can we fix this buffer issue? Is it where I mean, I know the original plan, didn't the original plan talk about hedges, green shrubs, evergreens in there?
Say what?
Did the original plan from way back when talk about evergreen hedges, green hedges for a buffer?
Whatever is on the plan is what I.
There was some,
It was a
it
hedge.
was a
This is like
hedge,
18 years ago.
yeah,
was a hedge.
there's no hedge there, which.
I don't know what you're talking about exactly about. I do agree with the code guy. He had moved everything and looked good. And I looked at it today, there's lawnmowers and other insulation. I did speak with his wife tonight, and I will speak with the husband and make it clear to him that he can't use much space over there except outside of the 50-foot buffer.
Do we have to be to the point where we need to put up maybe a stockade fence?
I don't know, let's give
Or-
this new tenant a chance, that's what I would say.
Or like the original plan talked about evergreen hedges.
Well,
Hedge would
whatever's
be-
growing there is,
Those are trees and bushes, and especially in the fall. You can see-
again, I don't know exactly what you're talking about. We can go out there and look, and see what's there, you know. But this new tenant had it right, and then he had it wrong, and I concur with him. He just needs to be brought up to speed. Let's give him a chance. If it doesn't, we'll have to readdress this, you know what I mean?
Well, let's give you it.
Pardon?
We've given you some chances.
Well,
So
again,
We need to get, that buffer needs to be a good buffer between you and your budding neighbors. And we're starting to hear, I'll be honest with you, I got a letter from a lawyer
yeah,
recently, and that was one of their biggest concerns is the buffer strip. So we need to figure out how to keep debris, kids, trash, stuff going into the buffer area. That buffer area should be no man's land, or
okay.
no girl's land, whatever you want to call it. Nothing goes in there except for the trees growing. We have to stop that.
Well, let me ask you this, one of my other tenants gave me a bunch of snow fence. And I'd be all in favor of putting some fence right up there. And then it would just physically stop them, and also would stop the snow in the winter from blowing through there too.
Snow fence is not permanent.
That'd be temporary, that wouldn't be a permanent thing.
I don't think that was the intent.
Well, again, I was just offering a suggestion.
You know, that would be maybe a temporary thing until you get some shrubs or some greenery in there, or a stockade fence or some type of fence where it's permanent. The snow fence, someone's gonna push it over.
Again, I would just say, let me talk to the new tenant there and see if he'll come up to speed. And if it doesn't, I would agree to do some kind of fence in the future.
So I don't think that's a choice. So I think it's on the plan that there's a hedge. If there's no hedge, there has to be a hedge. In lieu of a hedge, if you'd agree to a fence. I don't think this is something you wait to see if your tenant does. this is something that's on the plan that was signed by the planning board, so there needs to be a hedge.
Good.
That's not, it's non-negotiable.
Is that on the plan?
Yes,
Yeah,
Could I see that
and
plan?
it says not optional.
Could I see that plan?
Of course, it's
If you swing by the town office, it's
Okay.
in the site
Yeah.
plan.
in the site
You should
plan.
have a copy of it. It's in plan.
It's filed at the
Can the
county.
select board get a copy too?
Yeah, it's filed at the county.
I don't know if our copier, I don't believe will do anything that large.
Take a photograph of it and.
Yeah, you could go on to the Lincoln County deeds. It's a filed plan.
Mhm.
And look it right up. But it says.
Fred, can you do
it's Not
that?
optional.
Can you do that? Take a picture of it and send it to us?
Well, I can go
Well,
on.
I want Fred to do this. You know, Fred, I worked on that trailer. And the buffer was clear when we were done working on that trailer.
I know,
And here it is, what? A week ago was
I understand.
it was 10 days ago, that it was perfect. And now
I agree with him. He's 100% correct.
it's on you. It's on you to walk the park.
Okay, and
And
again, I
if
just,
there's a trash bag sitting in the front, you gotta go in and knock on the door and tell them to throw it in the dumpster.
I understand.
It's on you. It's not not. It's not for Mark. It's not for Derek either.
But we're not talking, we're talking about trash right now, but I'm also talking about what's on the plan.
Well, that's
The
right.
Plan says, plan 50-foot buffer zone to the left in natural state of no cutting allowed except for dead trees. And three, the hedge, which is expressly stated to be required and not optional. That was on somewhere I said the deed.
And this is on the plan, though.
On the
So-
plan.
Okay,
Somewhere I thought I had the.
I don't know. I've never seen that.
It's the one that you presented to the
It's your
planning board.
plan.
It's the one they signed.
It's the one that you presented to the planning board. When you initially brought it to the planning board for their approval, that was your plan that you presented to them. And that's the one that they signed off on.
Okay, well, if they sign on it, we'll do it. Okay. If it's on the plan, I'll do it.
Anything else from the board?
Um,
Oh, back to the lease agreement.
And the rules.
And
Okay.
well, the lease agreement could have the rules in it.
Okay, I spoke with an attorney. And he advised me not to give you any of my leases or the park rules. But I do have 2 leases that I have used. I've been a landlord for over 35 years. And you asked for the leases I used. Here's the 2 different leases that I use. And you make modifications depending on who or what or where.
You advise not to show us the actual form that you use, or this is what you use.
Say again?
This is what you use.
Yes, those are the leases that I use.
And every one of your tenants has a copy of this.
Everyone that has a lease has a copy of that.
So some tenants don't have a lease.
Again, my attorney told me this is really my business and the tenant's business.
It's also the town's business,
Well,
because we monitor that. We have to make sure that you're abiding by the ordinances.
the ordinances don't say anything about leases. And it is privilege between me and my client.
I don't know that the rules can't be shared. Every other mobile home park has been more than happy to share the rules. I don't know what that is, but if you have an attorney that's giving you that advice, we have had tenants offer to share their
yeah.
leases. So perhaps they will share their leases. So my concern is substantially met. But there's more work to do. You're very clear about that. How do we ensure that these will be resolved?
Beyond whether these will be resolved, how do we ensure that more will not immediately crop up,
That's my concern.
right? So if 10 days ago, when Mike was out there, the buffer strip looks good. And 10 days later, when you go out, it's back to not being good. I mean, unless you're gonna walk through there every day and knock on doors and say, take care of this stuff, take care of this stuff, to the point that your tenants are tired of you knocking on their door, so they start following the rules. You're the one that's gonna pay the fines, so I don't know how we resolve this.
Well, again, this was brought to my attention today. I called the lady tonight and I will talk to her husband as soon as possible.
But it's not Mark's job
I'm not
have
saying
you
it's
get-
Mark's job.
to
It's
have
that-
you here every 2 weeks, so that he can give you an update, so that you can get a hold of your tenants. Yeah, I want to come to a select board meeting where Lady Slipper Lane update is not on my agenda.
Me too.
But you gotta take care of business if that's gonna happen.
Well, as you said, we've substantially done just about everything, and some of these things change. I've been actually going around the trailer park before we did the inspection and picking up stuff that
Good.
had, as I call it, the tide had brought it in. And at this point in time, that seems to be the challenge for me here. And
So,
now, again, I want to ask a question here. Because I want to get all this on the table here. Was lot 10 in compliance?
As of this morning, when Mark was there, looks to be.
yes.
It is in compliance?
Mhm.
Okay. But these people wouldn't give up any more stuff of
Right,
theirs.
but it was in
Just like-
compliance this
well, they're in
morning, but is it
compliance.
now?
Pardon?
It was in compliance this morning when Mark is there, but is it in compliance right now? I don't know the answer to that.
No, I would like to see it be a neater lot than it is. That's what I'm saying. And, okay. Okay, lot 18. Again, I don't know his report. Is that one in compliance?
Rather than go through each and every one of these, you're going to, no,
Couple questions here.
I know, but we seem to be going through, you know,
All right,
you'll
I'll
get a
make
copy of this report,
that- Okay.
so.
Okay, just bear with me. That gentleman, I spoke with him before I came to this meeting, and he's been pretty sick. And he hasn't been able to work, and I don't know if that's in compliance or not, but he said he's gonna get a hold of Mark. Okay, I got two other issues here. And I missed this, and we found it today when we were doing it on 43 and 45. And I believe it's, I spoke with the gentleman on 43. Tomorrow, we'll be there cleaning that up, and 45 will be cleaned up tomorrow. And this was just an oversight on my part. There was a big trailer in there. He cut it up. We tried to get it out one time, and there's trees that actually grown around it.
That tells you how long it's
Pull
been
it out
there.
in one piece. So I want you to know, we've gone through quite a few different efforts on different things here, but I will jump right on all these tomorrow. This will be.
How many are still in non-compliance?
Everything in red is non-compliant.
Well, I mean, I suppose I could have them up myself.
Well, I didn't bother to go through and do the number thing,
9,
so.
9.
okay, 9.
Partly too is his list changes every 2 weeks, and there's nothing wrong with that, but. We go after what's on the list.
You shouldn't.
No, but I
Create your own list.
also.
You need your own, you need to walk through yourself, and
Okay,
those
I
are the
wanna
people
bring
you
this
need to
to your
talk to.
attention. and I told him this today. There were other lots that weren't on the list, and we found some kind of cage. We removed that. He saw it on my truck. I went to the scrapyard. We've been picking up other stuff that wasn't on the list.
You should.
I understand that, but you're saying I'm not doing it. We have been doing it. There's still more to do. I agree
I'm
with
not saying that you haven't made improvement. I've driven out through. It's evident that there's improvement. The concern is that this has been a problem for what sounds like 18 years. And so if we've had this problem ongoing for 18 years, if Mark is not babysitting you, how is this going to be taken care of in the future? You're gonna head off to Florida, and when we come back in the spring, we're gonna have the same situation. And we've, you know.
I have people that want to buy this trailer park, and I pray that they buy it, and I am not the owner January 1st.
Okay,
And
well,
I've already told people that. That was on record before this all started too. I had already given notice to all the tenants that I was trying to sell the park. But until it happens, I am the owner. So.
This isn't resolved until we don't have to have these meetings anymore. I think that's the biggest issue. It's great that Mark's coming in and making the list, and I get you're doing stuff that's not on the list. But if we go back in history, we've had times like this where an issue will come up, there will be a surge to fix it. And then it becomes a problem again that's large enough to warrant the town's attention. We need to get out of that pattern,
Need to get what?
out of that pattern.
Yeah, I agree with you.
When's the closing?
And
date for the
I
park?
will say, I take responsibility for a lot of this stuff that was kind of pushed out in the backyard. And I I should have been doing more thorough inspections of the trailer park, and that I am eternally sorry. Okay,
And that's fine. We're
no,
not looking for an apology. We're looking for
Results.
it to stop.
no, I understand, and I intend to, as long as I own the trailer park.
So the tenants were given notice that they could buy the park.
Yeah. And they never formed a co-op or whatever LLC to do it.
Were you guys given notice that you could buy the park?
We were given notice, we were told someone was gonna go around and, ask for our signatures and stuff. And she came around a few times, I guess, but missed a lot of us. I don't know, either we weren't home or something, and I don't know.
Cause I mean, to sell the park with all these new laws that the legislature enacted, it's a very specific. So that all was followed.
As far as it's not my responsibility for the tenants to form.
No, I just
okay.
wanna make sure, cause like
He
that,
gave us that option. I started going around and honestly, with all these meetings. I doubt that I could get everybody to stay in compliance. So I just kind of sort of gave up on it.
okay, so
So, and the.
when's
park
the
is up for
closing
sale.
date? Oh, so do you have a buyer or?
I have people that are very interested.
Very interested.
But so it wasn't just entirely on me. I started it. Some signed, some said, nope, not doing it. And I just got frustrated and kind of gave up.
Can I interject? Because I really understand this the most. I sent out registered letters to
Okay.
all the tenants. Cost me over $300. They were all return receipt. I don't know the exact number, but I would say probably a third of them never even picked up the letters at the time.
But you did that part, that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but you don't have any closing
And
date.
also, I told them in that they had to form an association or what the legislature required. I sent them a copy of the law along with it. But at that point, I am not obligated to do any more. This should have had some spontaneity in the whole park.
Well,
And
that's good that you sent it.
it's
return
not there.
receipt. Good.
It's not there. And actually, after what's going on here now, it really does need a private owner, a younger person who will keep herd on what's going on and kind of retrain some of these people or evict them if they aren't gonna do it. That's what's gonna happen. And one last thing, I gave out notices to the tenants that don't have power, and I am proceeding with those evictions when the time, as I go through the procedure. And it'll be sometime in November probably when they're in court. So,
I think we have to make the assumption that you're the owner,
I am
Right.
the owner.
right? And that you, unless you sell it and a deed is transferred, that you will be the owner moving forward. And so we can't hang our hopes on the fact that somebody else is gonna own it and clean it up. We have to have you clean it
I
up.
understand. And also, this is why I'm proceeding with these tenants that don't have electricity. Because there's no sure thing. I was a real estate broker for 18 years. And she's dead, Evelyn Giles in Booth Bay. The first thing she told me was, never count on your money until the money is in your hand. So no deal is closed until it's closed.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm going after these tenants that don't have power, because they are a risk to the tenants who do have their trailers, heat tape, electricity, they're not freezing up. They didn't have water on Christmas Day because of this one tenant I evicted. They were repeatedly drained the system and just didn't care at all about any of the other tenants. So I'm trying to protect those that are ready for winter. You know, this never happened in 18 years that I had the trailer park till this last year, no power. And my best analysis is the economy has tightened up, and the people at the bottom of the economic spectrum, they're the ones that all of a sudden can't pay their bills for whatever reason, you know? And this is why there's probably more homeless in America now than ever before too, so. So if I don't sell it, I'll be having, if I do go to Florida, I will have people here to plow, take care of the water system. And I may stay here longer in January, just to be sure that everything is in good shape, because once you have 2 or 3 freezes, Mother Nature sorts out the wheat and the chaff, and we've been through this. You know, and on the average of all the 18 years, I would say it's like 1 freeze up a winter on average. Somebody's heat tape will fail or the skirting's not good and they get caught. And then what happens is the pipes freeze and then they break. But then when it thaws, that's when you find out that there's a break and the water just starts pumping out. So there's no cure in this other than being ready and dealing with it when it happens. That's all I can say.
So what's the pleasure of the board?
Well, apparently we're still gonna babysit Fred
Mhm.
every 2
Excuse me.
weeks.
Can you, I'm sorry, can you guys be a little bit more respectful and not saying?
Okay,
baby?
okay. Apparently we have to over supervise Fred.
Supervise, that's
Oh,
better than the word baby.
Supervise,
The management.
Lady Slipper Lane.
The management of the park.
we gotta supervise the Lady Slipper Lane, apparently.
Mhm.
We should have a probation period. I've thought about this and Mark's put a considerable amount of time. And it's cost the taxpayer of the town of Waldeboro for him to do this. And I think it's time, if we're gonna have to keeping up, supervising this park, then the park should have to pay for it. We've got EMS chief involved up there constantly. We have code enforcement up there constantly. And it's just unacceptable. I mean, we've given Fred months of chances. I mean, granted, he's come full circle, but he's still got a lot of work to do, and the only way we're gonna keep this up is to keep the pressure on him and have our code enforcement officer manage it. Whatever you wanna call it. Because
I'm just asking
it's
you to
just
be
ridiculous.
respectful.
It's just ridiculous. It is, it's really ridiculous, and I'm getting sick and tired of sitting here having to deal with it. We got better things to do in this town projects and stuff like that that are coming here, moving forward, than to deal with this. And it's not the town, not the select board's making. It's not the town's making, it's the landowner's making. I've held respect, I've had
understand.
rentals all through this town,
You've never owned a trailer park.
thank God. But I've owned owned as much property as you have up there. I am selling every bit of it. Because I know what you're going through. The problem is, you're not doing what you're supposed to. I did. I kicked them out. And sold the place.
Well, I've evicted people this year. I already told
You
you.
haven't evicted anybody, Fred. All you've done is just prolong it, like you said, you took money
Hold
from
it,
somebody.
hold it. I came here and showed you the eviction notice.
Eviction notices, I can show you eviction notices night and day. They don't mean squat until
No,
they're out
I'm
of that
talking
property.
about the one where the court
I'm
threw this lady out on lot 3.
I know.
I brought this right to you. You're not paying attention here.
Apparently not. Oh, I'm paying attention, trust me.
And this lady was a drug dealer and her customers were causing.
We went through this the
innumerable
first
problems.
meeting. We don't have to revisit what we did our
What's
first
your
meeting.
motion?
Huh?
How much are we finding him?
Somebody's gotta make a motion.
Yeah.
I do know that we got a probationary period, how long the select board feels comfortable with that. And if Mark has to go up every 2 weeks to give us updates, it's on the park owner.
Do you want a
To reimburse.
probationary period after all the violations are fixed?
Yeah.
So you-
When's the state, isn't there a state inspection coming up?
90 days.
I think, yeah, I got it here somewhere.
Sometime in October.
Yeah, that,
And I will tell you,
That's gonna be
we've got everything
crucial.
done pretty much on the state, with the exception of the electrician, and he has to do that. I can't do that.
that's gonna be critical for you.
Pardon?
That's gonna be critical for you.
No, not really. This is just cross damage.
You don't
90
pass that state inspection.
90 days from August 6th.
August, September, October, November 6th. This problem that they found has happened before and it's been fixed without. And I did it just because it needed to be fixed, had people fix it.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's been a lot of pressure on us tenants, and I understand why, I get it. We've, we received that list and what needs to go or whatever, but it's not specific. And it doesn't explain to us what we can and can't have, like, I understand not having junk. Pallets were on the list, and none of us really understood why pallets were on the list, because we use them for things, we're not rich. I get it, people build things with it or whatever, but there's just. We're cleaning up and we're basically going around blind because we don't know what you guys consider junk that we're not. Is there a way that we can get a list of like what shouldn't be there? I don't,
Well,
you know,
I believe I met with you once before and we talked about the different stuff that was on your lot.
Right,
And we
and
can do that again if you want. Right now, I did not find anything on your lot as
Yeah.
far as a violation.
no, I understand. I'm
Yeah.
just speaking in general for everybody because I've had a lot of people ask me also.
So here's my injection into this whole situation. When I go up there and I walk through and I'm still seeing plastic thrown out into the woods, containers, and I can show pictures again of everything. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that's trash. If it's been sitting out in the woods and in a buffer area for who knows how long, well, obviously it's trash and somebody needs to pick it up.
Right. I get that.
Again, that's what I've explained to Fred as well. There's common sense that goes a long way in figuring out what trash is and what trash isn't.
Right,
So-
I understand that part, I
Mhm.
get that, but I'm just like, is there specific, like. I mean, I understand like a lawnmower or something like that, but. I guess I'm just saying general things that people bring home, is that like. There's certain things you're not supposed to bring to have,
It depends on what it is. If it is something that looks like junk, then it's junk. If it is a bald tire, it's not worthy of the road, it's junk. So I worked with one individual who decided, she came up with an idea to repurpose some old tires into some plants. totally fine. You know, that's, you know, she's making good use of something like that. But if it's just tires that are sitting around collecting, you know, dust and have been for who knows how long, it's junk.
Okay,
You
so
know?
if it's repurposed though, it's okay. As
If
long
it's
as not
repurposed
being-
for something that, you know, like that, she's making them into plants and stuff like that, you know, tired.
I've done
Yes,
that, so I'm
you
just-
know,
Okay,
but a lot of times, again, the stuff that we were getting after was stuff way above and beyond that.
Yeah,
So,
I get it. I just, like I said, though, like pallets, they're general things that people bring home to use. And to repurpose, like putting them underneath snowmobiles or building a little shed to have your things in or whatever. You know, didn't know if there's something in general that you're not supposed to bring, that's all. Just so we stay on top of it and don't end up bringing home stuff that we shouldn't have there.
I mean, the reality is your park rules should come from your park owner,
Yeah,
correct.
not from us.
right.
So.
Yeah.
You know, it would be his responsibility to understand the ordinances of the town and then create his list of rules and his leases with those ordinances in mind.
And I will, this is the third meeting I've seen you in, and thank you for coming, and you obviously have some care on what's going on up there. It's good to have you here.
It's my place to live. you
Yeah,
know,
it's home,
I
it's your
don't-
home,
I don't like the environment I live in, you know, but
but it's home.
I have to live there right now, so I don't have a choice.
Chuck?
I just wanted to say thank you to the board for doing something about this, because again, it's been a long time. But my concern is, again, you're doing a good job taking care of what I would call the health issues in the park, which really need to be cleaned up. My concern is again, the buffer area between my property and their property, which again, nothing was supposed to be taken out of that. And over the years, and I sympathize with Mark, as I mentioned this to Mark, and he wasn't here when this was approved, so he goes up there, he doesn't know what was there before versus what's there now. I mean, I've talked to previous code officers about this, and they have tried to talk to the owner a little bit, but they haven't gotten anywhere. There's, you know, out behind one trailer where basically there was a lot of underbrush that they cleaned out. And there was one area where they had cleaned out the underbrush, and that's where they was parking boats. After one previous code officer got after him, the owner, he did put some rocks in front of that so that it couldn't be used, but it made it still wide open. And again, there's also, again, the hedge by the one trailer that was on the approved plan that, again, never been put in. So I'm not sure the board can really do anything about that, but I just wanted to voice my opinion. Or my concern.
Well, we can go back and say that the plan did say you would have some type of hedge along the bufferway. And Fred's already agreed that he's gonna make it happen.
I can hardly hear you, sir.
You agreed that if the plan said there has to be a hedge, you're gonna
I'll
put a hedge in there.
in there.
And we're
It
running out.
shows on the plan where it's supposed to be.
And we're running out of time right now as far as weather goes to put hedges for them to grow, so we may have to expedite this a little bit.
Actually, going into the winter might be a good time to get it in there and get rooted in the spring. I know, I think this is a good idea.
Before it freezes up, yeah.
Yeah, no, really, I think this still might be a good time. In the past, I put pine trees behind lot 35 and they died. And I tried to do that, and the tenant, believe it or not, went in there and cleaned them out when they had died. I don't know if they would have made it or not, but she cleaned them
Fences
out.
make good neighbors and they don't die.
Yeah. And actually, a stockade fence might be cheaper.
And they don't die.
Rubens?
Are we the right enforcement mechanism for those rules on what should be in that buffer zone? I get there's a document that lists what should be there.
The code enforcement officer is.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Never had to think that question before, so thank you. That's my only question.
Where are we going?
I don't know how to word it. Becky changed it was after the change. What I was thinking
Oh, sorry.
after violations are taken care of. As being in a probationary period, so
Oh,
how do we craft? To continue this process?
We're looking to set a rate of what it costs us to do that work.
So you're fining right now $500 a day. So it's still not complete. Do you want to continue the $500 a day? Do you want to reduce that amount per day?
Well,
And then you can talk about probation.
Until it's complete.
well, I'll make the motion to suspend this fine. Then the code enforcement says that it's substantial, which is what we first talked about. At this point, we suspend it, although we've got 2 weeks that we didn't suspend it. Correct?
Right, the fine was good for 2 weeks. So that would at least that $500 a day times, 14 days. Now, the only thing that I will ask the board is there were 2 other parts to that statement that was made in the agreement. One was the lease, the other one was rules and regulations for the park. So I don't know if those have been satisfied, but it was 3 parts to the fine, not just the inspection,
We do
in my
we
opinion.
do have the lease. But doesn't really show any rules and regulations.
Yeah, you passed around, Fred, you passed around new rules and regulations. I guess that was at the last meeting. I think there were 3 new rules and regulations, the one about the having electricity. But we never got the rules and regulations that existed prior to that time.
That's correct.
Can you share those with us?
I'm going on what my attorney told me to do.
He's been advised by his attorney not to give it to him.
Well, no, that was with regard to the lease, not regard to the rules and regulations of the. What did your lawyer say? To just stonewall the board, or did it?
No. He said not to give any sign leases or park rules to you
Park
because
rules too.
yeah,
We don't expect to see any signed leases. We just want to see the lease agreement, which is what you
well,
use.
and I did give you that. These are the types
So
of
we'd like
leases.
to be able to see.
these are the types. These aren't the leases. That's the problem that we're having.
Please speak up.
You
Those are the only 2 leases I ever used right there.
Okay, and the balance of your tenants are tenants at will.
Say again?
The balance of your tenants, the people that don't have leases, they're tenants at will.
Correct.
And they don't sign anything? Is it just a handshake agreement?
Pardon?
That's what a tenant at will
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so there's no paperwork for people that don't have a lease.
No.
Okay.
And as having been a landlord for a long time, there's pros and cons to having leases. And I'm in the process of evicting people. I don't want them to give them a lease and say, I'm gonna rent to them for a year or, have it renew automatically. Why would you agree to that and then try to go to court and then evict them?
because in your lease, it says you have to follow this rule, this rule, this rule, this rule, and if you don't, I can evict you. So you have more legal standing if you have a signed agreement than if you don't.
Not really, no.
Yeah, for sure. I've spent 25 years being a landlord, so 100%. I say what we were,
Well,
if
every
you want
time
to
I've gone
suspend
to
it,
court,
great, I don't want to suspend it, but if
gotten-
you want to suspend it, the other
I've
piece
been
I would ask
successful
for
with
is
the judge.
that we either have a letter from his lawyer stating that he should not give us the lease, or that we actually have the lease and the rules, and we don't have to have somebody signed, this is what I intend to use moving forward. I don't understand why that would be a negative request.
Right.
You can also have the option of not, if you can suspend the 500 fine and make it a lower amount till everything is done. You can make another motion to reinstate a fine for the rest of it at a lesser rate. Now, I got what Abden was saying, is there's gotta be a way to maintain this. this, once you get to stasis, which would be completing it all. I liked his probation thinking or maintenance period, whatever you want to call it,
But it.
but it has to be
his-
done.
Historically, unless there's been serious threat of fine or an actual fine imposed, we have not seen movement.
No,
So
I
how
understand.
do we keep that going
I
forward?
think you have, so I think the only option you have, if you want to actually make sure that that list is completed, is you have to fine.
I feel like we already put a pretty significant discount over the original plan, which was $2,500 per day per violation. And I say that.
Which
in
is
argument-
millions per year. I mean, that was exorbitant. And I think,
It was intended to be a motivator. You had 2 weeks, show us substantial change.
uh,
It was
understood, but
intended to say this town has done 15+ years of this and it's over.
Well,
It's time to actually take action.
I'm looking at this from what's going on now and what is, what's going forward after the place gets cleaned up to an acceptable level. You need small corrections, lots of small corrections to change people's behavior. And I would be in favor of a nominal amount per violation on this list going in perpetuity. And I'll make a motion of, say, $25 per month per violation as reported.
Per month or per day?
Per month. Because the inspections are only gonna happen.
So one issue that we may want to
Twice it.
visit is that according to the land use ordinance, our fines are tied to what Maine state statute is, which is a minimum of $100 per, minimum of $100, maximum of 2,500, and can be assessed on a daily basis if each fine is allowed to continue. So that if you decide on something, it really should conform to whatever the state statute is listed in the land use ordinance.
Is anybody gonna second that motion? 'Cause otherwise it'll just die.
No.
Okay, so you gotta,
can't second that one. You got no second on that.
Did she make a motion?
He did, but nobody seconded his either.
nobody's in the seconding.
You guys are all dead in the water.
Somebody's gotta come up with a new idea.
Land use ordinance states $100.
It basically
violation.
states the state statute, which is $100. And a minimum of 100, a maximum of 2,500. And, for the violation, and it can be assessed on a daily basis.
Can, but not must.
Correct.
So we could do $100 monthly per violation.
Yes.
How would you feel about that as a compromise?
I'm in favor of complying with the law.
Per day?
Up to, or as frequently as per day.
How often are we going to be inspecting? The other side of it. We can't have Mark up there.
Well, according to this sheet, we got 9 violations.
Right. That's
So that's
$900.
$900 a day.
$900.
No,
So-
well, he said per month.
Oh, per
So-
month?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so per month.
That's rental from one. So I think you've gotta look at it like this. If I were you, in my years of doing this, which are many, almost 40, sitting in a seat like this, you've gotta, the only thing you have to make compliance is money. That's 8 years I've been doing this, over this same subject. 8 years. She wants a safe place to live. I can tell you what's going to happen. I have that ability. Once you don't have anything, $25 a month doesn't mean nothing. It's
Violation.
not gonna happen. It's not enough money. It's
That's 30
taken,
units up there.
it's taken the threat of you
Not
taking
even one
action
unit,
and
it's
fining
rent.
to get what's been done for the last month. And you're not done, and probably you're right, by the next 2-week inspection, there's gonna be something else. This is and as much as you don't wanna see this on the agenda, this is on the agenda till he sells the park. Do you wanna know how many times I sat with Stan and we went over this? God rest that man's soul. Because winter's coming. There's not gonna be anybody there. It's gonna look the same when winter stops. There's been no epiphany. This is what it is. And the only way to make this happen is you've gotta keep the pressure, and the only thing that has motivated any action is money and fining. I'm sorry, but it's the most action I've seen in 8 years, because talking doesn't do it, and being, I feel bad, it doesn't do anything. It's money. Money's the motivator. And in all hopes, it is sold to somebody who can handle it, but that's a big if, and it might just be pipe dreams. I don't know, but I think the neighbors and I think the tenants deserve to have the list done before you take the pressure off. And we wouldn't do that with anybody else. Typically.
I agree with you, and I think the only quibble is about how much. I just did the numbers, and at $500 per day per violation, and 9 violations that we have right now. In a year's time, that's $1.6 million. That's probably worth more than the park.
We didn't do
we
$500
did-
per day per violation. We just did $500 per day, flat rate.
Right, that's what.
Because I didn't want Mark to have to go out there every single day and say, well, that one's done, that one's done, that one's
I'm
done.
sorry.
Now we're
I
not.
stand
we're no
corrected, but it
longer-
was even worse with the first vote, which was $2,500 per day
Sure.
per violation.
But
so that's
only if
5
he didn't
times
comply.
$1.6 million.
That one didn't take
That's
effect immediately. That
million
was only if he
that's
didn't comply and actually
so-
start to clean the place up.
So we're only talking about
$2,000, well, 14 days at $5.
So
$7,000 so far.
And you can
And it
lower
hasn't
that
gotten it.
$500
It hasn't
at
gotten
that.
us where we need to go. 7,000 wasn't enough.
May I speak? I'm thinking of these two that Mark and I both kind of missed. And behind lot 45, we pulled a whole bunch of stuff out, a trampoline. And we walked over there, and under some grass, he found some more stuff there, and he said it was minor. There's like a half a bushel of stuff. It'd take 5 minutes to pick this up.
So do that.
I know, but my point being is, to charge me $500 for half a bushel of stuff that was over not seen, seems to me exorbitant. And I said tomorrow I'll go up there and deal with it.
It's not $500 for the half a bushel. It's $500 for the rest of the list that's not taken care of. And we're currently talking about 9 properties, but 2 weeks ago, I was gonna say last month, but it hasn't been that long. 2 weeks ago, we were at 17 or 19 that were still left. And so, yes, you have made an improvement, but you didn't make an improvement and still we started charging you money. So how do we get you to continue to do this?
Can I speak? Okay, now there's lot number 5, there's 2 cars on it. They're unregistered. That's on the list. I have tried to get those people to move those cars off.
Not on there, not on the list.
It's not on the list anymore.
Okay, well, it was on the list before.
It is on the list.
It's on the
It's on the list.
It's on the
Lot 5.
list, but it's been taken
No, it's
care
not.
of.
No, it hasn't.
No.
Right here.
It says remove.
First page.
First page.
there's a Jeep that has been removed. There are still 2 unregistered cars
It's
that
not red, though.
the people refuse to remove.
Yeah, they refused it, and
One that I
a
had.
lot of the problems I've had is from the tenants refusing to deal with certain things.
Oh, see the two.
And I don't know how,
Oh,
Can't be talking about individual, I think
Yeah.
you guys gotta get away
Yeah.
from talking about
Let's
individual
not,
things.
let's not talk about
Just-
individual.
You need a
lots.
motion.
Be here all night.
All right. Well, we spent a long time in this. My motion would be to keep the cadence we're on now. At $500 a day, flat rate. Check back in 2 weeks.
Per violation.
no,
Nope.
just
per
a
day.
flat
We've just
rate.
been doing it per day. That way we don't have to ask Mark to do extra work.
Okay, yeah, got you.
And if the violations are, correct me if I'm wrong, if the violations, Fred feels if all the violations have been taken care of, he can call. I
Sure.
can do the inspection at that point in time. If all is taken care of, I can put a date stamp on that and give you guys a report.
That'd be
You
the
sure
greatest
can.
phone
That'd be
Okay.
great.
I'll second that.
The one thing I want to make sure is that Mark is not being constantly called out there. You know, after the last meeting, our meeting continued. Derek and Mark spent an hour and a half with Fred in the back room going over this stuff. You have a list. I agree, like you don't know what the interpretation is. It's pretty clear what the interpretation is. They have spent hours and hours with Fred. Fred knows the interpretation. We don't know what's in his rules because we can't see his rules. So you have to worry about what's in his rules if you know what those rules are. And what the, you know, so I just because his or the town's ordinances, you might be fine complying with that. We don't have any say over what his rules are,
Right.
Nor to the state.
Would we
Or
or the
need to-
state.
I think that's a big thing that Fred's trying to say though, is that like. He can't do certain things as landlord, like. Showing up on our lots, knocking on our door, he's supposed to give 48-hour notice before that by like calling. As far as,
But we don't, we can't supersede that.
right, I'm just saying, like, he has to abide by certain laws too, and you guys are trying to tell him to do things also, and he's gotta find that medium, like how to be able to do that and still abide by the law.
Can I
I,
throw something in here? So, I mean, I was once a landlord too. So he has to give you 24 hours of notice before he enters. But if you don't answer your phone and if you don't answer a letter, he's gonna knock on your door and say, okay, I'm gonna be back in 24 hours. That's legal.
if those attempts are made, yes.
We're not asking him to clean up anything inside somebody's home.
Right.
Right.
no, we're not, I don't.
We're only asking him to clean up
Right.
what is visible.
And you guys said vehicles and stuff like that and whatnot, I was just pointing that out.
So again, we've discussed this before, and I know it's rehashing things. But if you had a rule and regulation that said you couldn't have a unregistered, uninspected vehicle on a lot, this wouldn't be an issue. Because at that point in time, he could have something in there that says, if it's on there for 5 days, it's towed at the owner's expense. Done.
Right.
So again, if the rules and regulations were in place, this wouldn't be an issue. So once again, if we can't see rules and regulations, we don't know what's going on, all I can do is go by what the violations are.
Yep, I don't know, I just, off of that topic, you guys set a probation period, just in general. I know the 2 weeks, but did you guys think of how long a probation period total?
We
A
didn't,
a probation period, I think in this case really needs to come once it has reached the standard that it needs to be at, and we're not there yet.
Yeah, we need
But
to
I
know how
think-
long the project took, how much of Mark's time is continuing.
Following
Right.
following this list being all green, no red, I think there needs to be a probationary period in order to maintain what is happening up there. If I were him, I'd put some ironclad leases with rules in place so that he can have confidence that his tenants know exactly what the rules are, and he is within his legal right to come on and clean up the sites. But that's up to him. So far, he hasn't been willing to do that.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor for 500,
And
in second for $500 a
Until
day
this-
until this list is cleaned up. And, no, hold on, Mike. And the code enforcement officer has the authority to let us know when, if something ends up, tell us when the stuff, it was fine.
And we'll come back in 2 weeks, is that correct?
Mark also mentioned that there were two other things, seeing the what was.
I mean, he said his lawyer advised him that we can't see
Yeah.
his lease and his rules.
I would love a letter from that one there.
Are you including that? in
You,
the-
you wanna amend that motion?
You need to amend your motion.
I want to amend my motion.
Okay.
I'd like a letter from that lawyer talking, just telling us, hey, I confirm, this is the advice I gave. I want to make sure we have the exact text.
I can't speak for him. I don't know.
That's why we want him to send us a letter.
We either, this motion says we're gonna fine you $500 a day until this stuff is cleaned up. And until we either have the rules and the leases of your park, or we have a letter from your lawyer that says he has advised you that you do not need to provide to the town your lease and your rules.
All in favor?
I have one other that was supposed to be on the agenda and then, I apologize, it didn't make it. I wanted to give you an update. 1207 Winslow Mills Road, we've been dealing with some junk cars on the property and also a single wide that needed to be removed.
Yeah.
The person, was given a length of time in order to, make progress on that. I did meet with him on Thursday. He has a thing in the works where he has a construction dumpster that is coming and he is working with somebody to come out with a backhoe in order to crush that thing and get it off the property. So I just want to let you know, we're working on that and we'll continue.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, now we can move on to 11.2, cell phone tower update.
Is that me?
Well, you can go first and then I'll go.
I'll let you go. You'll probably repeat half the stuff I was gonna say.
Okay. So today, Mark, myself and Kate, our planner, was it today? No, it was yesterday. My days. Had a conference call with a representative from Blue Sky Tower. They are intending to erect a tower, on Friendship Road. The site address at this point eludes me, but it is, what was noticed in the newspaper. Very frank conversation about what our expectations would be that they would provide to the town. They will have to go before the planning board. I did explain that the expectation would be they would provide a balloon test, which is where they fly a balloon so that people can see it, and there would be notices of that given before that happened, so people could be looking for that balloon test. A third-party RF study. We were very, and Mark was very adamant about maintaining the buffer around the cemetery. There is no variance for that because there is a cemetery on the property that must be maintained. They did let us know that they have received their waiver from the FCC. So that is in place. So they've obviously provided information to the FCC that shows that there is a lack of coverage. Which is how they get that waiver from the FCC. I told him that we would also need all of that information provided to us. They would like to do a pre-application plan. We were very clear that any pre-application plan, we need at least all the information that they're submitting 2 weeks prior. I believe they're going to try to be on the November planning board for a pre-application, which means that all of that data that they have, they will have to give to us prior. So that is the update that as far as information that we were able to glean. They did represent that they've been doing this a long time. I do think that they were not expecting the language that they got back. Was that
Very fair assessment.
a very fair assessment of the meeting? I do think that we started off the conversation of, this is what our planning board is going to require of you and the town is going to require of you. I don't think they're often asked about balloon tests and RF studies and anything else, so I think that was not what they were planning on. But we did ask the question about the waiver. So Kate was very clear about the pre-application, then they would do an application. Because it doesn't fit within our ordinance, they'll be denied. So then they're gonna, after they go to the planning board, most likely they would be denied because it doesn't fit within our ordinance. Then they would have to go to the appeals board. So we laid out everything that is going to be required of them. And we were also very clear that it's a third-party neutral RF study, not something that they can just produce. And they did provide some information about who some of their professionals are, so that was interesting. So that's where we are as far as everything that we now know. So we've actually had contact. Prior to this, we haven't had any legitimate contact or any real conversation, so that's where we are with them now. The floor is yours, unless anybody in the select board has a question for me.
I emailed the select board, and Amy and Sarah, thank you for being so great in communicating with me. I sent you all just sort of a distilled version of what we can and can't do. The answer is, when a cell phone tower is coming in and they have their ducks in a row, there's not a lot you can do. Moratoriums don't really work. If there's no coverage and they have a place to put their tower, they can build their tower. You guys are already doing incredible work in asking for all the right things and asking for the balloon test and asking for all those RF studies. The last thing I found that's interesting is there's actually language that says you can't use health concerns around RF as a reason to deny a tower.
Right.
And that's not to say that we're gonna do a thing that will hurt people. It's to say they have data that's been exhaustively presented that shows what the health risks or specifically lack thereof are, and that data will still be available. It's, it's a hot subject. It's akin to vaccine discussions, and what science says and what's generally accepted. I can forward that to those emails to anyone that asks. They're very wordy. I don't want to put you all to sleep. I also don't have them printed with me. It's a lot of reading the Telecom Act of 1996. Most of it's all in there. There's a lot of case law where other towns like ours have tried to prevent those towers, and I found at least 6 examples where they haven't. That's what I got.
Anything reward?
Nope, I think we've exhausted just about every avenue that we could think of. Mark, Kate.
We were very, like I
Movement.
said, I think they started out the conversation with credentials and then they realized, oh, somebody actually does have something to say back, and they are willing to provide all of that information. And I think it's important we get that information as soon as we can so that it can then be disseminated to everybody. And
Are we privy to who they're putting on the tower?
they were not forthcoming with that information.
And I don't think
But they were
necessarily
interested, I will say this,
They may not even know that.
I did provide alternative. Where did you look? Have you looked here? So I don't know, I just to find out, I'm sure, as the planning board gets more into this, they'll have more discussions, but for initial discussion, I thought it was good.
I believe it was Verizon, and I might be able to pull that up.
I'd expect T-Mobile as well because they bought US Cellular. And that gets, there's thoughts I have that aren't. that
I
would
don't
start
think he
rumors.
said, I think he said he had worked with them in the past. I don't know that he said Verizon. I think he said Verizon, but I don't know that that's who's going on the tower.
I mean, if it's an unserved tower, anyone that can sell cellular in the area is probably. gonna
And
wanna
you
know.
can have up to
Yeah,
4,
everybody.
depending on the height, you can have up to 4 to 6 carriers on a tower.
Yep.
So
Plus radio, plus ISPs.
Plus,
plus
emergency service.
emergency services
Yep.
and things like that. So that's what I have.
Okay.
When those conversations happen, if there's an opportunity to talk to them, I have a sublist. There are local businesses in the area that get on radio towers that sometimes have interference issues with some of those carriers. They're not questions to ask in public, but I can write it down in an email. It's something worth being aware of. Really just to be good neighbors.
It is Verizon.
Okay.
It's the only question I got is what about fire and EMS and stuff like that. Will that be something that we could ask to be put on there?
They typically lease that. At least the space. I know the two on the hill, because I worked with them when I was with Midcoast.
Are we FirstNet out here? That's AT&T, I think.
It's, right now, it's,
Because I think that's the biggest. issue we have
analog.
Down there is,
we were having, when they went to digital, there's not enough towers in Lincoln County to cover Lincoln County.
Right.
Right.
So I don't, there, we're back down to analog.
And I'm not talking about so much analog versus digital, whoever, there's a company somewhere that owns the gear and owns the frequencies that we use. And if there's a
I'm sure
shadow
if a
out
tower,
there,
if a tower goes up, I'm sure that the county communication,
Yeah.
Tarago will be.
yeah, it's
talking
not a
to
secret
whoever.
tower. They don't want to try to keep
It's
people
not
from
a,
paying
it's,
them.
no.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that that conversation would happen with the county, because all the communications are through the county.
Okay, great.
Yeah, RMC takes care of all that. Sure, go ahead.
Question, sorry. One thing Ruben and I and Sarah, we didn't have a chance to sit down and talk through some of the things that, were sent for Ruben's review. And I'm feeling like that can still happen.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
feel like we can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because there are still some concerns even with the restrictions that we have, or even the way that those are being perceived.
Mhm.
So, or the understanding around them, that I am the type of person to look under every stone. And so I do end up having these questions that just so that I can ask them and know that they've been heard and answered will go a long way. But, Sarah, did you want to add anything at this point?
I do have a question, and this maybe reflects some of my lack of knowledge on this kind of thing, but in my little pea brain, the technology for cell phones, all technology seems to change really, really quickly. And how do we know, like if we erect a tower, how do we know what the lifespan of that tower is going to be? I mean, is the technology going to be beyond the cell tower in 5 years, 10 years? And then if it is, and cell towers aren't being used anymore and everybody's using satellite or something else, then what happens? Are we stuck with that tower?
No. So typically during the process, there would be a, so what typically happens, and we hold here, I think there's 2 bonds for towers that were erected that if they have to come down, there's money that they would be taken down. If for some reason a company goes bankrupt or something like that, so.
performance bond.
It's a
too.
performance
Right.
bond that the town actually holds, and that could be a condition of approval for the planning board.
It's similar to like cell towers where, solar tower, farms. Where they have a decommissioning plan and they have to put money aside in order to do that.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
but, I mean, the cell tower has a lot of people can lease their space on the cell tower.
Mhm.
So what if there's hardly anybody on the cell tower? I mean, we just.
Not
don't know
gonna
the
happen.
technology.
I'd be surprised if that happened. Cell towers are just metal. Satellite's really cool, but the stuff is too far away. You're always gonna need what they call terrestrial radio on something much closer to you.
Mhm.
That technology will improve. That technology might use less power. It's gonna, the frequencies, the numbers they use are gonna change. There's a reason those things have 99-year leases. The way we use radio changes. Radio itself doesn't. So there's, short of some major sci-fi level breakthrough, there's always going to be a use for some kind of radio device on that tower. I would love to see that breakthrough happen because that would mean, yeah, fewer towers, but you're talking about types of technologies that people write in the sci-fi books before that could ever happen.
What was that word you used again?
Which one?
Extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrial radio.
Extraterrestrial.
No extra.
There's radio on the ground.
Just terrestrial.
Satellite radio. is satellite radio. Yes, sir.
Just wondering if there is data on the value impact of abutting properties and second order properties.
You can get stuff off the internet that talks about 5 to 10% decrement in property values surrounding that, but at least I'd like to see in the process some real effort to find the best information about that possible. And my thinking goes that the attraction of putting it in an immediate residential area is short access distance. And that is subsidized by the decrement in value of the surrounding properties, which is probably minor, but reflected in the tax bills.
I'd have to, I can ask Daryl about that.
Our assessor would probably be able to.
Yeah,
get
our assessor would probably see how other places probably have had the same issue, and I'm sure he might know something.
I just want to make the point that it is a trade-off. The construction company saves money by putting it in a residential area adjacent to well-developed roads. And that's subsidized by the abutting owners.
Yes.
So to that point, and maybe with the question that I because it's already been mentioned, is the RF study. So one thing that comes to mind right now is, are there other things besides what's already been mentioned that should be asked of the tower company to be able to speak to? So if we've already made our list, is that complete? Like, we can't add to that, or are there other assessments that we can?
So there's a pre-application.
Okay.
I think after the pre-application, if questions aren't answered, then they're gonna go to the application phase and go to the planning board. So I think you're gonna get 2, maybe 3 bites at the apple.
Okay. Specific to the RF study would be, what's the aggregate emissions, not just this one piece of equipment, but if there is the 4 to 6 providers on the tower, that's gonna be a different number.
Correct.
And then how are they continually assessed? Because once a tower of this size is put in place, the FDA and nothing government has nothing else to do with it. So who is checking to make sure it stays within the parameters that these?
So typically, if anytime that another carrier were to go on, there'd have to be an
Another
assessment.
study.
And we permit that as well.
And we permit every time something new goes up. And there should be an inspection of the tower. I mean, that's all conditions that the planning board can put on this.
Okay, so I guess these things that are mentioned, like the pre-application process and the date of this and the notification of that and whatnot, how are we privy to that? Because just in my naivete, I didn't even realize that this meeting was happening tonight until yesterday. I was thinking there was gonna be a whole month to sit down with you, Ruben, and talk about some of this stuff.
So
So I
when
don't
it
know
comes
how
to that particular, there's gonna be a lot of notification about that, because I think they got the impression they want the residents to be well informed. So like, we'll notice it on our Facebook page. There'll be a notice in the newspaper that we're gonna do. So the balloon test will be noticed. The pre-application meeting, Kate does abutters.
Mhm.
There's an abutter notification. It's always printed in the newspaper. So, and something like when people start to see a balloon flying, that's gonna be big news. That's gonna be.
Well, I'm gonna be ready.
So
Okay.
all of that has to go through, technically Kate's office.
Okay,
So, yeah,
You're not gonna fly a balloon for 30 minutes and pull it down.
no, it's a big balloon. I mean, it comes.
What's the time?
Don't do it in hunting season.
Again, we can work with them on that, but
Yeah.
typically, I believe the last time I flew one of those was, I think we did it for 18 hours.
How big a balloon is it?
Looks like a pretty big balloon.
Just that. big?
I mean, it's big.
It's not as big from getting.
It's not a little, it's not like a birthday balloon. It's a big balloon. I mean, it's,
Macy Day.
It's the size of the tower, right?
Yeah.
it will go up to the size of how high the tower is gonna be. So the top of the balloon is where the tower top is.
When you're driving down Route 1 during the day, we've got the cell phone towers on either side. Look at that tower, look at the top where all the masts and stuff are. The idea is to have something that will show you what something at that height and that width will look like. So about that.
Okay, and those of us with glasses will be able to see.
Yes, you're
yeah.
going to be, I mean, it's a big balloon. It's really big. Probably, I wanna say probably as big as
It
this
could be
table.
like the trout.
No, it's really big. Sorry. I was-
For you, Amy, we meet every 2 weeks. And if you go to waldoboromaine.org, they do a really nice job keeping the calendar up to date.
I found that.
Or if you're not sure, call me, shoot me. an
It's not
email,
every
smoke
2
signal.
weeks. It's the second and fourth
Second and
Oh.
fourth.
Monday.
Well, I. call it
Tuesday.
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 Tuesday. Second and fourth Tuesday. I don't know what day it
Fair
is.
enough.
I'm
The next
having
one
a,
is October 14th, if that's helpful.
yeah.
And what is the time frame? Like, generally speaking, how long of a process is this? Are we talking like a 6-month thing or a
It's
year?
really up to the applicant. I mean,
Okay.
they have to have all their materials in 2 weeks prior to the planning board meeting in November. So they had to have everything in by October 31st, I believe it was.
That is the pre-application.
For the
And then they
pre-application.
have to have the application phase, so that's another, a minimum of 30 days away. That they would have to wait for the application period.
And so Pam, what was the October 14th?
Yes.
That's this next
That's
meeting.
just our.
That's next out. Yeah, they're in November.
And the agenda goes up on our, website the Thursday before our meetings.
Selectboard.
And is it in the process of all of that, Ruben said in one of his summary notes that, as you pointed out, there are things that the town can ask for, and he mentioned, like height and where it is and.
That's what the balloon tests and things are for.
Okay, so there's more conversation to be had.
Yes.
Feeling,
The-
I don't
the-
have to say it all now. All right, all right,
I think you're gonna get 3 bites at the apple. today. You'll have at least 3 public hearings.
Those planning board meetings will be of interest to you.
Thank you. What? No.
Are we good with cell phone towers? Discussion of cell phone towers. Next I had on the agenda 11.3 marijuana ordinance. The reason I asked this to be put on there was, like I mentioned before. I've had one business owner and 3 landlords. 3 property owners asked to bring this up to the board to see if we would revisit this ordinance. To send it back, look for a review. Plus I talked with Mark and he said there's a few areas of that ordinance that probably should be tweaked a little bit. Not saying we're gonna make any decisions tonight, but just in the back of our head, do we want to, whether we bring our marijuana committee back in, or we sit down as a working group and talk about how this was written. For example, it's the way Mark explained to me, the state of Maine in 2018 passed the municipal marijuana usage law. And towns had to opt in to be able to do retail sales, and you'll see them throughout the region. Waldeboro never opted in, but we already had 3 businesses at the time. Or two businesses, and a third one was going out of business, correct? The one up on.
I just know of 2 that were grandfathered under that
Right.
law.
The third
State
one,
law.
the third one was going out of business at the time, so that's why the only 2 were grandfathered. And if one of these 2 decides to close the doors and not renew their application, then we're down to 1. But we've had some inquiries in the town and some folks who want to come in to open up medicinal marijuana retail store.
So we did have, so only one of you remains. We did have a marijuana committee and they did issue a majority and a minority report. That I can distribute to all of you. I did also get calls since the last meeting, from people who are part of this, who would love to be heard again. By the select board before you make any type of decision. Who were involved in the committee, so, you know. It's up to you guys, you know, how you will proceed, but I can distribute those reports to you. And it might be worth too, because this was one of the biggest projects that Max took on, and maybe invite Max back to have conversation with the select board too. Because he was intimately involved in the process.
So I guess my question is, are they they want to expand and make it more, or if one goes out, another one can fall back?
Either or, you know, one of the thought process was, not saying we'll open the door up to everyone in there.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters to come in and do these stores, but to kind of make a lottery type thing like we do with climbing licenses, you know, let's say right now we have 2 grandfathered. If one drops out, we're down to 1. Well, and if the other one drops out, we have 0. And
There's enough in the neighborhood. The neighboring towns.
well, the neighboring town. But again, it's a business opportunity for some, like I said, one of these people that approached me has a commercial property they're trying to sell. And they've had a couple people say they'd like to buy it. However, their type of business is not allowed in town.
And that's.
And Julie
Yeah.
and Mark could tell you, they've had a couple calls from some folks that wanted to do it.
That's why I asked whether they wanted to expand it or just replace.
You know,
what was
I
pre-existing.
wouldn't be in favor of opening the door
No,
up to everyone.
me neither.
Make a lottery to either have, you know, 3 to 5 maybe.
And I think that they'd have to comply to the zoning ordinance, and
Oh,
that's where
absolutely.
you're gonna have to be, because I can tell you that. One of the biggest things is going to be, if you open it up, do they have to be in the same location? Because people are very used to where they are. When you start opening it up to other locations, you're gonna have a lot of people being like, I don't want that next to me. And, you know, I think that's why it might be interesting for you guys to read both the majority and the minority report.
Well, they'd have to go to the planning board stage anyway.
It's just to clarify something so everybody knows, there's 3 different levels that we're talking about. One is caregivers. Those are the ones that are not allowed to advertise, but they're allowed to be in business. Those are the green, you know, plus marks. The other one is the retail stores. Those are medical marijuana. They're not adult-free use and stuff like that. We do not have anything of that in town. It is just the medical marijuana.
Right, I mean, I'm talking totally medicinal.
Mhm.
I'm talking totally medicinal.
Well,
I guess the move I'd like to see us make is to review the documents that you could provide us with, the majority and the minority. And to take a look at the current ordinance and maybe get some feedback. Probably from you, I'm sorry, about what things need to be updated or are outdated or are not in compliance with some other rule, regulation, or law in the state of Maine.
there's
so
probably
that-
some law changes.
So that we could say these are the types of changes that maybe could be handled here, or these are the types of changes that cannot, and we need to make a decision to put it elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's an ordinance, so it's gonna have to go out to the voters.
Yeah.
We'll build it till June anyway, so.
Right,
You've got some time.
yeah.
So maybe the town manager will find those.
I have the minority report. The majority report has eluded me, and but I did reach out to the chairman of that committee and ask him for a copy of it. I think it was given to us in hard copy and not, Jan, you were here,
Electronic.
and I'm not sure it was given to me, like, I have not found it electronically, so I'm hot on that search.
Thank you.
Agenda items for next meeting.
We have, the EDC would like to come and present the new signs.
Ooh.
So that you guys can look at all the choices. I think they narrowed it down to 2 or 3 choices for you. And I think I've kept you guys pretty much up.
We get to hear about Lady Slipper Lane. I just want to make that like hospice house or Sylvania site to you. Make it flourish.
The Matonic Community Park. $5 in a jar.
Oh, I have something.
Oh, shoot.
That we need to think about in November's meeting. The first meeting is scheduled for Veterans Day.
You're not
And we
here.
are closed.
The what?
The first meeting in November is scheduled for Veterans Day, which is a holiday.
Food for thought.
But we don't have to talk about it right now.
No, but it will be here.
No,
just
but we
like
might
that.
want to put it on our next agenda. We're talking agenda items,
I
John.
know.
I'll do it. Since I write the agenda.
Thanks.
Anything else?
I just want to say we have eclipsed our most famous Facebook post has been the moose at the transfer station.
Oh, good.
It had more hits than our last largest post. So I just wanted, because naming the snowplows, believe it or not, was a really big hit
That
in
was
the
fun.
town. But that moose has traveled and we have eclipsed. That is the most popular thing we've ever posted on Facebook, the moose at the transfer station. No, there was a moose that walked across the scale at the transfer station.
Any more things for the next agenda?
Yeah, I want to name the moose.
No. Make a motion, anyone make a
I
motion
named
to
it.
adjourn? So moved. Moved in second, adjourn. Oh.
I sent John that clip because it was up on the Blueberry field and he was headed toward our property. And I was like, Bullwinkle's headed toward the plate, our house. Headed toward the homestead, that's what I.
Oh, wait. I've got it.
Oh, where's that signal?